Good morning, afternoon, evening, night. Jags to Riches, James Peters, straight to it. Just wanted to briefly go over the All-Star starters. Recently announced, captains and starters being announced yesterday. Just wanted to briefly go over the rosters who actually received this award. Kind of go over where they're currently at in the season, statistics, accomplishments, and then of course, just key takeaways. KD's replacement. Obviously, we'll talk about Andrew Wiggins. And then I just want to also talk about my issue with the selection process when it comes to the whole guard versus front court, call it the grouping categories, call it whatever you want. Because you'll see, even though Wiggins he's getting a lot of the heat right now, but the reality is it's actually the NBA and this setup that's at fault. So we'll go ahead and review all of this next, guys. And getting right to it, this year, 2022 All-Star captains, Team LeBron versus Team Durant. LeBron James from the Western Conference with KD being from the Eastern Conference. Deja vu? No. It's just back-to-back years with the exact same captain, starting with the King, LeBron James. 18th straight All-Star game appearance. He has actually also been a captain ever since they introduced it back in, 2018. He's actually now tied with Kobe Bryant, second all-time with All-Star appearances, only one behind Kareem Abdul at 19, which he will break tie next year and then most likely break the following year. He's also a three-time All-Star Game MVP, currently defying odds, defying what it means to be a human. The man's in, his 19th season right now and is averaging, or his 18th, and is averaging 29 points, 7.7 rebounds, and 6.3 assists. Absolutely insane. He has been just incredible. And moving over to KD, the other captain. Now, Kevin Durant unfortunately has an MCL sprain. He's actually been out since the 15th of January. He will actually miss this All-Star game, and that is actually the second straight year he was named as a captain, but actually unfortunately missed the game. Now, currently, he is averaging 29.2 points, 7.4 rebounds, and 5.8 assists. Before his injury, he was right there up at the top for the MVP race. And looking at how the format is, and like I said, we'll get into more of that a little bit later, but I do believe it will be Jason Tatum of the Boston Celtics replacing him based on position and points. But like I said, we'll get into that a little bit more in a minute. Transitioning over to the Eastern Conference starters. Again, captain Kevin Durant, 12-time All-Star. Looking at Giannis Antetokounmpo, reigning Finals MVP and champion, 6-time All-Star. You also got Joel Embiid, who is currently right up at the top of the MVP race, 5-time All-Star. You got a 2-time All-Star in Trae Young, and 5-time All-Star DeMar DeRozan making his return. Looking at each of these guys, Giannis Antetokounmpo is currently averaging 28.6 points a game, 11.2 rebounds, and 6 assists. The man is actually playing better this season than last year when he led the Bucks to an NBA title. Now, Joel Embiid. Is Embiid the MVP favorite right now? This man has scored 30 or more in 14 out of the last 15 games. He's actually averaging 28.9 points, so 29 points, 10.7 rebounds, 4.3 assists, 1.2 blocks. Absolutely dominant. Transitioning over to DeMar DeRozan. What a resurgence that this man has huh? Once again, making an All-Star appearance. I think it's been, several years since he's actually made an All-Star? Welcome back, DeMar, and a starter at that. Averaging 26.4 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. He is 6th in the league in scoring. Now, we'll get into these issues with the positions again. Now, DeMar actually had an issue himself as the ballot has him listed as a guard, even though he plays a forward position with the Bulls. And finally, Trae Young with the Atlanta Hawks, averaging 27.7 points per game, 9.3 assists. He's shooting a career-high 38% from three. He's 5th in the NBA in scoring and 3rd in the NBA in assists. Now, when it comes to Eastern Conference potential snubs, call it that if you will, I would probably put James Harden right up at the top of that list. Harden averaging 23 points, 8 rebounds, 10 assists for the Brooklyn Nets. If you actually look at him over the past, I'd say 45 days or so, because he had that slow start to the season, but like the last month and a half, 2 months, he's averaging closer to about 26 and 11. So you could say James Harden. I would also maybe say Jimmy Butler through 30 games. Jimmy Butler averaging 21 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Zach LaVine's another one, 25, 5 and 4, 40% from three at 7.2 attempts. So I could see the case for any one of those guys. But for the most part, I'm pretty comfortable and happy with what the East did. Like I said, if anything, I could maybe see James Harden instead of Trae. But again, I'm no real issues here because all the controversy is saved for the West. The Western Conference All-Stars. Again, LeBron James, 18-time All-Star as the captain. And then, of course, following up, 8-time All-Star MVP champion Steph Curry. Steph Curry right now averaging 25.8 points a game, 5.4 rebounds and 6.2 assists. He is shooting 38% from three on nearly 12.7 attempts. Now, I know it is kind of, call it a down year or a little bit of a slump recently, but still the man leads the NBA in three-pointers made and attempted. Now, reigning MVP Nikola Jokic, Joker, averaging 26.2 points per game, 13.8 rebounds, and 7.6 assists. That is good for 7th in the league in scoring, 2nd in the league in rebounds, 9th in the league in assists. And I just wanted to shout out, not even a week ago, when Embiid and Jokic, you had Embiid go for 50 points in like 27 minutes or 25 minutes against the Magic. And just when you're thinking, my God, Embiid is, later that same night, you have Nikola Jokic go for a 49-point triple-double and I believe an overtime game-winning pass against the Clippers. I mean, you are watching two of the best big men of all time, and it's going to be one of those things where you won't truly appreciate these men until they're gone. But, I mean, like I said, two of the best. And looking at the rest of the West, Ja Morant making his first All-Star appearance. Now, if you know me, guys, I am really big on Ja. If you're going through YouTube and you see a Ja Morant video, go to the comment section and you'll probably see Jagster Riches arguing with people. I am so big on this young man. I mean, to the point where if you asked me 5 years from now who would be my top players in the NBA, if I had to give you a top 3 like 5 years from now when Ja's like 27, 28, Giannis will be like, 32-ish, I would probably say Giannis, Luka, and Ja Morant will probably be who I believe will be the top 3 players, if not at least top 5 in the next, 5 years or so. Absolute stud, averaging 25.8 points a game, so basically 26 points a game, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, and he's led the Memphis Grizzlies to a 33-17 record, good enough for the 3rd seed in the West. And of course, rounding them out, Andrew Wiggins making his first All-Star appearance. Now, Mr. Wiggins is averaging 18.1 points per game, 4.2 rebounds, 2.1 assists. Now, he is shooting a career 40.4% from the three, and he has been an excellent, contributor on the defensive end for Golden State the past 2 years. And obviously, Golden State is right up at the top, and the turnaround they had since last year. Now, when you talk about the West, the Western Conference snubs, right at the top, you have to say Luka Doncic. Luka averaging right at, 25 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists. What about Devin Booker? Riddle me this. How does the number 1 team in the West not have any All-Stars? You got Devin Booker, who's averaging 25 points, 5.5 rebounds, nearly 5 assists. What about Chris Paul, who's averaging nearly 15 points, 5 rebounds, and 10 plus assists? Now, Paul George is injured, and I think if he wasn't injured, he would, without question, be slotted in. Who's averaging 25 points, 7 plus rebounds, nearly 6 assists in the 26 games. Now, he's been injured since December 22nd. Now, we know how this is all set up, guys. It's the fan vote is 50%, players 25%, media 25%. And excuse me as I transition over. Hello there. So, we just went over all this, guys. Captains right here. Boom, boom. Scroll down a little bit more. Here's the starters. Boom. West. Here's the starters east. Now, when you scroll down a little bit more, it gets you to this right here. Now, this is going to be where my whole rant comes in when it goes to the front court, back court category issues. When you click on that, it brings you to this tweet, and then it gets you right here. So, you see voting results. Eastern Conference, it shows you right here. Front court guards. So here's all player rank, fan rank, media rank, weighted score. And you basically see how they got to all the starters. You got KD, Giannis, Joel right there at the top 3, and then DeMar and Trey, right? So that's why when I said with KD being injured, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Jason Tatum, just because, again, it's the front court, and Tatum, KD's in the front court. So in Tatum right here, with the 4.5 weighted score, which is the next, I guess you would say, highest, because obviously this is based on, the lower the number, the better the rank. So it looks like Tatum should be getting that start, with KD actually missing this game. And then, like I said, when you talk about the snubs from the East, I mentioned who? I mentioned James Harden, Zach LaVine. You know what I mean? Both of those guys are in the guards. Jimmy Butler would be the only other one, so I could see maybe Jimmy, But then again, if it's based off of this points, Jason Tatum will be KD's replacement. Now here is, before I even transition over to the Western results, when I said that it's Wiggins who's obviously getting a lot of the heat right now, well, the reason that is, guys, is because Andrew Wiggins is actually, Andrew Wiggins right now, like I said, he's averaging 18.1, 4.2 rebounds, and 2.1 assists. But if you look at the entirety of Wiggins' career, he is actually scoring in the bottom half of points per game. What I mean by that is, here, I'll show you. If you actually look just at Wiggins' individual stats, right, the last several years, or over his entire career, watch this. Where's my basketball reference? Andrew Wiggins stats. So, again, 18.1 points a game, right? Last year, 18.6. The year before that, while with Golden State, 19.4. While with Minnesota, 22.4. The year before that, 21.8. The year before that, 18.1. That was all the way back in 2018. Same thing for rebounds, 4.2. Look, last year, 4.9. The year before that, 4.6. Year before that, 5.2, 5.1, 4.8, etc. Same with assists, 2.1. Look, last year, 2.4. Year before, 3.6, 3.7, 3.7, right? So my whole point with that is, if Wiggins is having, if he had a better statistical year just last year, right? And more than half of the rest of his seasons, he has had better stats, better points, better rebounds, better assists. You can make on the defensive end, he has been a lot better. But again, you could argue last year, right? So why is it, James, that you're saying don't put all the heat on, on Wiggins? It's the NBA. So, transitioning over right here, guys. Here's the Western Conference voting results. Now, remember, what did I say the snubs were? I said who? Luka. I said Devin Booker, Chris Paul, guys along those, right? So here is LeBron and Jokic right there, 1 and 2. Here's Wiggins. Let's see who he was competing against in the front court, right? Draymond Green, Paul George, who's injured, Rudy Gobert, he's a center, Karl Anthony Towns, he's a center, DeAndre Ayton, he's a center, Carmelo Anthony, get the hell out of here, and then Anthony Davis, he's been injured and is a big man. So when you then go look at the guards, you had Steph and Ja make it. Luka, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, Donovan Mitchell, Damian Lillard, Anthony Edwards, DeJounte Murray, Clay. Look at the guys in this guard. And because of this silly ass bracketing, you have Andrew Wiggins basically only competing with an injured Paul George, a Carmelo Anthony, and a Draymond Green, his teammate. They're not going to put Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns out there with Jokic already out there. So look at who he's competing against is my point, guys. And then it's just, it's so ridiculous when you think of the fact, and as a Celtics fan, it upsets me because we dealt with this same thing last year with Jason Tatum getting snubbed for his third team All-NBA. The man had the points, but because of the position, I think it was Kyrie that got it over him, even though he had more points towards the... Listen, and it's the exact same thing. It is 2022, guys. Positions are dead. Look at the East. 3 of the starters, KD, Giannis, and Joel Embiid. All 3 of those guys are near 7-footers or 7-footers. And 3 of them are starting, and basically 2 of them, you'll see them dribbling the ball up. Ben Simmons, LeBron James. I mean, their positions are dead. 6'9", 6'10", 7-footers dribble the ball. Go type in Evan Mobley's highlights and watch with Cade Cunningham, number 1 overall pick. He's a true point guard, right? 6'8", 6'9", whatever he is. My point is, guys, Andrew Wiggins is what, 6'7", and he's in the front court. Luka Doncic is also 6'7". Booker's what, 6'6"? Draymond Green is 6'6". I mean, do you see what I'm going at? It's absolutely ridiculous that guys like Luka and Devin Booker didn't even get an opportunity to compete against Wiggins for the starter because of this silly ass front court versus guards. And obviously Wiggins is in any of those forwards are naturally at an advantage because look, you've already got Jokic here. You've got Embiid in the other one. So you've got Embiid and Jokic as your 2 centers. They are not going to put in a Karl Anthony Towns and a Rudy Gobert. They're not going to do that. Maybe Anthony Davis, maybe Bam because of the skill set those centers have. But my point is, Andrew Wiggins was really only competing with Draymond Green and Carmelo. AD has been hurt. Paul George is out. I mean, he was not competing with anyone. But if you would have opened this up, I mean, he wouldn't have started over any of these guys. The number 1 team, Devin Booker, you've got Booker and Paul right here. Neither one of them are able to represent the starting team. Luka, not able to represent the starting team. Donovan Mitchell even. I mean, there's so many guys. What about DeJounte Murray averaging what, nearly 19, 9 and 9? It's just the system itself is broken when it comes to this whole front court versus guards. I don't necessarily know, I hate being a guy that, whines or complains about something and doesn't actually have the best solution already thought out in my head to, at least present. I would probably say something along the lines of, because it may have to be, you're going to always have your centers, your true 5s, your bigs, right? And then you're going to have your playmakers, your ball handlers, your 1s. And then to me, it's everything else. It would be like 1s, 5s, and then just all others, essentially, wings. I mean, because how can you say Luka is in the guard when he's a 6'8", and Wiggins is in the front court? I mean, those guys are all the exact same size. You know what I mean? That's what it's a positionless game nowadays. So we dealt with this. I have a strong opinion on it just based on the fact that Tatum was burned last year with it. And of course, we're dealing with it again. But again, other than that, not too many issues with it. Very happy for Ja, my man. Shout out to him. I'm glad he got his first appearance. Like I said, I pretty much do like the East. Now, the actual reserves will be announced on February 3rd. The draft is going to be on the 10th. And the All-Star game itself is on the 20th of February at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So maybe I'll get with Bobby. Maybe we'll actually do the next episode of Trust the Podcast. We'll schedule it for this upcoming week. Maybe we'll do a mock draft ourselves because obviously the draft is coming up on the 10th. So with the reserves being announced on the 3rd, maybe right after that, we'll do our own mock draft. So, but I can tell you right off the bat, if I had the first pick and I was just going off starters, it would probably be Giannis 1, Joker or Embiid 2, and then the other one 3 with Steph also. So it'd be Giannis, Joker, Steph, and Embiid would be my first guys out of the starters pick. So otherwise, guys, Jags to Riches, James Peters, thank you so much for your time. Congratulations to all the All-Star starters. Hopefully our boy Jason Tatum gets in there with KD going on. I just actually dropped a Rewind in Time episode 3. It was a retrospective, a look back at the great Isaiah Thomas and his magical 2.5 years. That's available now on Jags. But on Celtics Corner, I actually reviewed Boston Celtics' last 2 performances, Jason Tatum's 51-point game and the 50-plus point win against the Kings. So definitely go check that out, guys. Otherwise, Jags to Riches, James Peters, thank you so much for your time. Celtics, Hawks tonight. Let's get a big win and have an incredible conclusion to your week. Take care, guys.